Peace and blessings. Peace and blessings. Hope all is well. Shout out to all my troopers out there, man. I am your host, CueBracey, aka Tyrone Bracey. And today, man, I want to have a conversation with you about the age of consent. The reason why I want to have this conversation about the age of consent is because it's obviously a double standard due to feminism that has been turned around on men. And this is just another case of society trying to neuter men, trying to control men's sexuality while at the same time talking about giving women sexual liberation. But before we get into the video, man, make sure you like, share, subscribe. My goal is to get 20,000 subscribers by December. I appreciate your support. Thank you so much. We just definitely want to keep this message going. And so I appreciate you for helping us keep this message going. Now, I have two examples to show you. One example is to show you how far we have departed, right? What it used to be back in the day versus what it is now. You know, back in the day, man, we used to do everything younger. We grew up faster. I'm talking about human beings, not even my generation. We grew up faster. But now we have this situation where everybody is in this perpetual state of childhood. But really, the problem is, because I don't even want to mix the issues, the problem is that as they continue to try to curb men's sexuality, they continue to say, oh, you know, the center of the conversation for curbing a man's sexuality is to always assume that a man is taking advantage of a woman and that a woman is not smart enough to make her own decisions, which is actually the opposite of what feminism is saying it wants. It's saying whatever men can do, I can do better. If men think they smart, men are smart too, right? But then when it comes to situations in which they want to control men, they flip that conversation and they say, well, she wasn't old enough to really understand what she was doing. She was a victim in the situation. And I think that this is a dangerous game that they play. This is a dangerous game that we allowed them to play. And because we have allowed them to play this game, many brothers out there of all nationalities have ended up on the wrong side of the law because a woman just said, hey, you know, this, that, and the third. But I want you to listen to this red pill conversation that was had. This movie came out in 1956. And so let's listen to this dialogue.
Names with this.
Your wife, was she a Comanche girl?
Mm-hmm.
Young?
15 when she come to me.
That seems awfully young.
Well, girls and ponies both. The younger you break 'em in, the better.
This is a big red pill. This is a big red pill he just dropped.
Apt to get wild otherwise. You've been broke in?
To marriage?
Mm-hmm.
She had to specify to marriage. Now, why is this dialogue so important? Because when we talk about these conversations like liberation and things of that nature, we see that women are extremely wild now, right? They're extremely out of control. They don't know how to control their mouth. They don't know how to control their emotions. They're wild, but they're also out here and they're delaying marriage and being in a relationship with a man more and more. And so this was a very interesting dialogue because he highlighted marriage, not sex. But it's also very important to understand that these two things are one. And even back in the day, it was understood that these two things were one. But, you know, one of the things Kevin Samuels points out all the time when he's doing his podcast, he always points out how women don't have relationship skills. They have not been broken in. They have not been in relationships long enough to have relationship skills. And so and he's saying this young lady came to me at the age of 15 years old. Now, to you, you may be saying, "Oh my God, that's super young." Here's the problem that I have in today's society. We are telling people that they can engage in adult activities with people that's their age, but they can't engage in adult activities with people older than them. And if they engage in those adult activities with people that's older than them, then somehow the adult is the one that's at fault because they're not old enough to make their own decisions. So a 15-year-old young lady can go out there and get pregnant by a 15-year-old boy. And nobody sees a problem with the fact that it's two 15-year-olds out here sleeping with each other. What's the difference between a 15-year-old man or woman sleeping with a 25-year-old versus sleeping with a 15-year-old? A lot of times, women have to get with somebody older because the men their age are not even up to speed with the female mindset and how women are. So what I'm basically saying is that we have a lot of stupid rules, and a lot of us think that these rules are normal, but really, as you start peeling back the layers, is really to control the man's sexuality. That's the root of it. And men are the number one people that want to monitor men's sexuality. But here comes the real kicker. It's okay to monitor people's sexuality if you are telling them that they need to get married before they even engage in sex. That's fine. But if you're trying to monitor people's sexual behavior without marriage being a requirement, it's impossible. It becomes the wild, wild west. You cannot, because you can't tell somebody that they didn't feel like he was the one, or he didn't feel like she was the one. Therefore, they got caught up in the moment and just did things that they wanted to do. And so, but who does that affect more? That affects the man more to pursue his desires and things of that nature. And so we in a society where if you curb a man's sexuality, you can see how wild these women are, the clothes they wear and everything like that. If men could be who they were, majority of men, when women dress like that, they would treat those women like prostitutes. But they make men, they don't want women to feel bad for looking like prostitutes, but they want to make men feel bad for treating them like a prostitute. And so the double standard, men just keep getting caught up in the double standard more and more and more and more. And this is why men have to come together. Because at the end of the day, a lot of men go against their own interest. And it's so interesting the situation we in, because as men, naturally we want to compete with one another. Naturally we want to be the alpha male. And so being the alpha male, testosterone is a hormone that produces the energy of being an individuality. That's why guys always try to say, yo, I'm not like those other dudes. And at the end of the day, that becomes a catch-22 because she like those other dudes. So if you say you not like them, are you putting yourself in a bad position now? All right, maybe I went too deep for y'all to understand where I'm going with this. But what I'm basically saying is that a lot of times men go against their own interests. And, we have been programmed to think a certain way. So we think like, yo, 18, If people out there 15, 16, you know what you was doing at 15 and 16. If people 15 and 16, they out there doing these certain things, why are we making it seem like there's some like, oh, you gotta be 18, you gotta be 9? Once you start doing adult shit, you open yourself up to the accountability that adults have. Point blank, period.
No, not yet.
Seems to me you should have been broke in some time back. Well, I guess Indian girls grow up quicker than whites.
He told her she should have been broken a long time back. Now look at where we are now. And you know something that really pisses me off, man? I don't let it bother me, but as soon as I hear this phrase being used, I automatically turn my ears off. And that phrase is science. Man, do not tell me about what no motherfucking science say, man. I don't want to hear that shit from certain people, because I know that their science is bullshit. Listen to this. Or how they using it is bullshit. Listen to this.
Reaction to it, which led her to make this video talking about the situation. Here is what she said.
Keemstar is 39, he'll be 40 next year, dating a 20-year-old. It has been scientifically proven, I have been told this time and time again, that the female mind, because he's with a female, the female mind, natural born female mind, does not fully develop until the age of 25. With males, sometimes it's up to age 30. You're an almost 40-year-old man with a child, just got out of a 13-year relationship, and now you're like within weeks just blasting that you're sliding into new cheeks as a 20-year-old. There's a
So at the heart of this, she wants to monitor men's sexuality. I don't hear nobody talking about cougars. I don't hear nobody talking about what Jada Pinkett did with August Alsina. You understand? I don't hear anybody talking about women who are out here doing this. As a matter of fact, they're making movies. You know, how Stella got her groove back. This is what I mean about female sexual liberation versus men continuously being neutered sexually. We have to realize that this is a trap. And she's like, it's scientifically proven that the female mind is not fully developed until 25. She's talking about a science that she doesn't know anything about. I was just looking at a guy named Uberman. He's a psychologist. And one of the things that Uberman talks about is this whole idea of the mind being the elasticity of the mind. Basically, what he's talking about is our ability for our mind to continue to, Dr. Andrew Uberman. He did a very interesting talk on a couple shows. You should listen to him. He does some good work. But he said, you know, even saying that the mind is developed by a certain age is a controversial statement. And he's the real scientist here, not her. Okay? Because when you talk about the mind being developed, a lot of times you're talking about there's a point in time where the mind is very elastic. So when you're talking about your children and things of that nature, there's a time in which your children can learn new languages. They could do these things very easily, no problem. And then supposedly as you get older, you're set in your ways is what they call it. But that goes exactly against the age of that goes exactly to what the guy was saying on the last wagon when he said, you know, you have to break women into marriage at a young age, to being in relationships at a young age. You cannot sit up here and tell a woman after she's set in her ways at 25 that now she should get married. She's already set in her ways, and now you want her to, her mind is fully developed, and now you want her to get into a relationship with a man with her mind fully developed. He didn't even have time to mold her mind. She has no relationship skills and her mind is fully developed. All she knows how to do is go to college and work and be promiscuous. We have to seriously think about what we are saying when we open up our mouth. You know, men want to customize their women. Men want to mold their woman to be their woman. They don't want a woman that's been molded by everybody else. You know, the only other influence that I really want my woman or my children to have is the influence from their family, the influence from their mother, their father, their aunts, their uncles, not from some college or not from going to work with bosses and looking at damn, you know how it is, man. Not from the pastor or the preacher. Like, no. And so but at the heart of this, it's all about controlling men's sexuality. A lady did a beautiful story on this. Her name is Benita Ardent, and this lady right here, and she talks about the politics behind cleavage. And that's what I was saying to you guys earlier. Like, why is it that women believe it's okay to walk around, you know, inappropriately, showing a lack of honor, discipline, and respect? What is honor? It's your last name. It's realizing that when people see you out, they're gonna be like, damn, that's a Bracey. That's a Bracey girl. That's a Bracey boy. And they out here looking bad. That's what honor is. You know, respect is how you treat yourself, how you treat your neighbors, and discipline is you not even doing certain things in the first place, right? And so when you got women walking out here looking like prostitutes, that's exactly what Bernita was talking about when she was talking about this whole the politics of cleavage and how women can continuously dangle the bait. And you know, that's why I said I've been on Clubhouse. I've been in plenty of situations after I became aware of this conversation about the age of consent and how dynamic it is, usually by older women that's phased out in the market. I just was like, wow, like people are really misandrous. People really hate men. People really don't want men to be able to do anything. They want to just tell men what to do all the time, right? They don't want men to have a brain. They just want you to supply money, shut up, get out the way, right? So listen to what else she's saying, and then we're going to wrap this up.
She went to a fan meetup with her friend. If her friend is a super fan, she obviously knows Keemstar. He kept saying she has no idea. Ever victim blame the 20-year-olds or under 25-year-olds. Like, they don't know. They're not fully developed there. They think this is cool. They think it's a way to something, money, power, fame. Maybe they have issues of their own. I know mine was issues with my father and not having a father figure in my life. And you're not.
I hate how flimsy people are when they present their little soliloquies or whatever, man. This is very flimsy of Trisha. Why? Because are you saying that if somebody is easily influenced, then that is a sign of youth? It's plenty of people out here every day that's falling for schemes and scams. I was just talking to somebody close to me, and they got scammed out of money like 2 times doing them damn susus. Y'all remember when them susus was out? What's a susu? You get 20 people together, 200 people together, 2,000 people together, and you say, hey, you're going to pay into this susu, and then you're going to get a payoff, right? So every month you got to put $200 in the susu, and then by month 2,000, you'll get your payout from the susu, and then you got to wait 2,000 more months because it's 2,000 people, whatever, you know, people fell for that at 40 years old, 50 years old. Being gullible has nothing to do with how old you are. You know, there's some, well, in some respects it does, but we talking about really young people that a lot of times they not even gullible. They just scared and can't really protect themselves. They know right from wrong, but they like, man, all these people bigger than me, they gonna beat me up. You know, they are more vulnerable to physical threats as young people. But yeah, this whole idea of, you know, this, you know, listen, let's hear what she said again.
How convincing himself that this is not a fan, because he said, oh, her friend is the fan. She went to a fan meetup with her friend. Here's some more red flags that come up. And Keemstar says, you can't follow me and I can't post pictures of us. And I don't ever victim blame the 20-year-olds or the under 25-year-olds. Like, they don't know. They're not fully developed there.
You know how many things you could do in this world when you 18, 19, 20? This woman is literally trying to say that when you're 20, you're not an adult. Come on.
They think this is cool. They think it's a way to something, money, power.
Everybody thinks that. Everybody thinks that. That's not for 20, 25, 30. Everybody out here is like thinking that something is a way to something, you know? And if that's the basis that you built your life on, then you got to really, that's a reflection of your household. You know, did your parents give you the foundation to understand that pretty much you're not going to be able to take the easy way out? Do you understand hard work? Did your parents make you work hard when you was growing up? Or are you just thinking, hey, I'm going to just get out here and will and deal and scheme to the top? That's, you know, that has nothing to do with age, though.
Or fame, maybe they have issues of their own. I know mine was issues with my father and not having a father figure in my life, and you're not dealing with it, but actually like jumping to another father. There's so many different levels of why a young person would do this, and none of it's their fault because they're learning and growing, and it's shame on the almost 40-year-old for doing this, for causing more trauma into this person's life.
See, she's making it an age thing, but really underneath this, she making it a gender thing, because nobody would say anything if the roles were reversed. Anyways, man, a lot of times I'm going to tell you what happens when it comes to like stupid arguments or stupid like commentary. I get upset about it, and the reason why I get upset is because I know it has actual real world implications. I know people's lives can really be messed up by a lot of this false propaganda that they have going on out here. And that's why I get upset about it. That's why I feel compelled to talk about it. Because under normal circumstances, I would just be like, yo, you sound stupid, and just go somewhere. But because, you know, all of these people run their mouth and it has real ramifications, I figured, hey, man, I got to come in and set the record straight about what the truth actually is, you know, and also just allow people to hear the stupidity. Like, yeah, I think women are smart. I think women can be smart, but I hear a lot of women saying stupid shit, and it gets validated in society and by the law. This is the fall of the West. You know, I don't want it to be that way. That's why I'm speaking out, trying to wake people up. That's why I need y'all to support this message. But, you know, if we keep allowing women to run off at the mouth with these dumbass conclusions, we're going to be in a lot of trouble. Anywho's, if you would like to support my work, like, share, subscribe, leave a comment below, and we'll be back in here with more videos for y'all. Peace.